My favorite APS-C lenses for the Sony a6500 is the Zeiss 16-70 f4, the Zeiss 24mm f1.8, the Sony 30mm macro 3.5, and the Zeiss 55mm 1.8. Wait, what? To find out why these are my favorite lenses for the crop sensor Sony cameras, keep on watching. What's going on, hybrid shooters? It's Jason, and I'm going to tackle a frequently asked question on this channel, and that is, what lens would I recommend for the Sony a6500 or a6300? And this is going to be kind of hard because there's really no one lens to rule them all. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about a few of my personal favorite lenses, in what certain situation would I use them in, and hopefully it'll help you figure out which lens is right for you. So let's go ahead and zoom right into it. So the first lens I'm going to recommend is an all-arounder lens, which is the Zeiss 16-70 f4. This is a 24-105 equivalent on a full frame camera, which means you're going to get a variety of different focal lengths to work with, which really makes this an all-purpose lens. You can shoot portraits with it, you can shoot landscapes, streets, wedding, events, pretty much anything in general. But where I think this lens truly shines in is in video. It has optical steady shot, which is perfect for the a6300 because it's going to compensate for the camera's lack of in-body image stabilization, which makes it a great run and gun lens for personal travel and even professional gigs. And if you have the 6500 like I do, the optical steady shot and the in-body image stabilization play really well together. You would be able to get some nice steady shot just hand-holding the camera like this without a tripod or a monopod. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be bummed about the f4 because it will suffer in low light, but I think there's a lot of good trade-offs that really outweigh that one critical factor of the lens. It's sharp, it's compact, and again, it has optical steady shot. And believe it or not, a majority of my a6500 user experience review was shot on this lens, and I think the footage looks amazing. So if you're looking for a lens for general photography and general videography, I think the 16-70 should fill most of your void. Alternatively, you can also consider the Sony 18-105 f4. I think in my findings, Sony shooters either have the Zeiss 16-70 or the Sony 18-105, and both lenses are generally well received. However, the advantage of the 18-105 has is that it's great on the gimbal because all the zooming is done internally, whereas the Zeiss 16-70, it protrudes out if you zoom in. Because the zooming is done internally, the balance never changes. So you have the 18-105 on a gimbal like the Zhiyun crane, you can get a variety of steady shots in different focal lengths, all without having to change lenses. And I actually got this idea from the improvisational filmmaker Brandon Lee, so definitely check him out if you want to see how that combo works. And it's something that I'm also considering myself. If I do get the 18-105, you guys would definitely know. Alright, next up we got the Zeiss 24mm 1.8, and by far this is my absolute favorite lens for the a6500. It's a 35mm equivalent on a full frame camera, which is a focal length that's closest to the human eyes. It's not too wide, it's not too close, it's a great all-around fast prime lens. The 1.8 on this lens really sealed the deal for me. It provides nice bokeh and it's great for low light, which is why I love pairing this lens up with the 16-70 because I can shoot all the general stuff with that lens, and when it gets dark, the 1.8 on the 24mm comes in clutch. And I'm not done raving about the 1.8. I love using this lens with the Zhiyun crane because you can get some nice tracking shot of your subject at 1.8 thanks to the reliable autofocusing system on the a6300 and a6500. Moving on to this gem right here, and I say gem not because it's silver and it sticks out like a sore thumb. That's actually the only gripe I have about this lens, that it doesn't come in black, but because this is the best budget macro lens for the Sony APS-C, the 30mm f3.5 macro lens. It's great if you want to shoot any extreme close-ups, detailed shots of inanimate objects. I mainly use this lens to shoot a lot of my product B-roll on this YouTube channel. Any subtle panning or tilting or sliding, because of how close you are to the object, the movement will seem massive. Of course, the 50mm or the 90mm macro will give you better compression and more distance away from your object, but for something so cheap and so lightweight, oh my god, this is perfect. It's a great investment, and if you're a wedding photographer or a wedding videographer, this is a great ring shot lens. It's so tiny and compact, you can just throw it in your bag and not worrying about it taking up too much of your space. Now, I personally don't own one, but we do have it for our wedding work, and that is Sony's ultra-wide angle zoom lens, the 10-18 f4. It's the widest lens that autofocuses that Sony has to offer for their APS-C line. The size makes it an absolute perfect combo for the a6300 and a6500 for gimbal work. Because it's an ultra wide angle lens, it's f4, and a superb autofocus on these cameras, most of what you'll be shooting will be in focus, so it'll be good for establishing shots, exterior shots, anything that requires an overview shot. Now, like the 16-70, the 10-18 is also an f4 lens, but it is also sharp, it is lightweight, and it also has optical steady shots. So for any vloggers out there who are looking for an ultra wide angle lens, this is the one to get. Now, last but not least, the Zeiss 55mm f1.8. And I know this is not an APS-C lens, this is a full frame lens, but hey, hear me out. Because of the size of this lens, it just blends in with the other APS-C lens, and my 24mm f1.8 always gets mistaken for the 55 because of how similar they look. The Zeiss 55 is undeniably one of the sharpest lenses you can get for your Sony cameras, and it's going to be great for portraits because on a crop sensor camera, it's about an 85mm equivalent. For video, this is going to be a great compact telephoto lens, and with clear image zoom, you can really push this lens to about 160mm and still get some decent 4K footage. Alright, you know what, since I'm already breaking the rules here, I might as well throw this one in. It's a tad bit bigger, but it still holds comfortably in the hands, and that is the Sony 85mm 1.8. So whatever I said about the 55mm can also be applied to the 85mm. It's roughly 135mm on a full frame camera. Again, it's great for portraits and it's a great telephoto lens for video work as well. So regardless of whichever one you decide to go with, either the 55 or the 85, these will pair up nicely with any of the lenses that I suggested earlier. So before I conclude this video, I know I'm going to get some questions regarding the Sigma and the Zeiss 2-Wit lenses. Unfortunately, I don't have much experience with them, but from my little time with them, the tests that I did, I found out that when these lens autofocuses in video, they make noises. So if you're capturing sound as well, and it's only going to one source, which is the camera that you're working with, it may not be ideal. Even with a shotgun mic, it'll still pick up that noise. But image quality wise, if you're thinking about these lenses just for photos only, they're gonna be great. Alright guys, that's pretty much it. All the lenses that I talked about are available in the description box below. If this video has helped you out in any way, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys can purchase any of the lenses through the links down below. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but a small kickback of what you purchase will come back to me to help me continue growing this YouTube channel and create more awesome Sony Alpha content such as this one. Other than that, give this video a like, comment down below your favorite APS-C lenses, and hit that bell to be notified when my next video comes out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!